Hi, guys. Welcome to this episode of the Trainer Feed. We are your hosts. My name is Angel Sanchez. With me, I have Mr. Jacques Delogere
What's going on, everybody?
and Mr. David Bravo.
Hello. We have Alfie, too?
There we go. We have Alfie.
Special
He is our special guest. So, what we're going to talk about today is American-made versus non-American-made fitness products. I had my own little quest with that, and I asked the question to a couple of people, and they have different responses, so I figure it's worth talking about. But just first impressions, do you guys have any experience with American-made or non-American-made products?
Well, I mean, in general, yeah, right? I mean, I've had American-made products that are, like, union-based, that are, what do they call it? Fair trade or something? That are, like, this T-shirt, I think. Or I have another hoodie it says, American-made, union, whatever. Like, it shows you whatever union that the factory was done, manufactured under, all this stuff. And it's, like, a really heavy-duty, piece of clothing. And then you have things that are made not in the U.S. that, aren't the greatest thing. They're a little cheap, and I think that just comes down to like manufacturing and stuff and how expensive it could be.
Sometimes, though, right? Because like iPhones are not made in the U.S.
Yeah, there's some
I wouldn't categorize them
Taiwan or
as
something.
cheap.
Yeah,
Designed in California.
Designed in California, assembled in some place in like Indonesia. But I think. But when it comes to workout stuff, like, are we talking about kettlebells? Like, they're Russian,
Right. Yeah, right.
Can't mention that.
Oh, man. Well, no, because that's part of the problem, or part of the spark in the conversation, because everybody's been talking about fitness gear. I know Jacques has some gear, like clothing, athleisure, and he knows where some of them are originated from. Can you tell us, like, really quick? Like,
So I know Roan, which we're wearing right now.
Shout out Roan, the
Shout out
trainer
Roan.
feed.
15% off.
Shout
Those guys are based in Connecticut, Stamford. So it's American. I know Lululemon is from Vancouver in Canada. Nike or Nike, whatever you want to call it, based in the States, right? I'll say Adidas for American follows. Adidas is, I believe, German. Trying to think of other ones. I believe 10,000 is American too. I don't know what other ones you guys. You were Bird Dog. Where's Bird Dog from?
Bird Dog is American. I'm pretty sure it's
American?
like from California, I think.
So, in my experience, I know that
Hello.
Rogue,
So-
a lot of their stuff is American made. I think Sorinex is also American made.
Yeah.
Go
Ruck
Go
is
Rock
American made.
is American made, and then you got like Rep Fitness, which is Chinese made but designed in Colorado.
Noble is American, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
Noble's American.
And yeah, so one of the reasons why there's a conversation is in general, and maybe the specifics will like kind of weed some of that stuff out, is that American-made products, fitness products, tend to be a little bit more pricey than non-American alternatives.
Bird Dog is American made in New York.
Oh, made in New York.
No way.
That's dope.
That's why Keith has the whole set.
They're
The whole fit. right?
dude, Bird Dogs are fire.
No, I'm not hating on
No,
them.
they're
no,
resilient
no.
too. They're like
Keith's been wearing them for as long as I've known him, I think.
No, Bird Dogs are super
100
dope.
years or
I
something.
really No, Bird Dogs are dope. I really enjoy their clothing. And there's a thing that I saw, I think it was a tweet, and it said Bird Dog did for men what Lulu did for women.
I've heard that also used for Roan.
Oh yeah? Oh, maybe it's like
Yeah.
a generic thing then that I heard. I
Because
don't know.
10,000 is men only as well. Well, Roan is now doing some women, but
Yeah.
it's mostly men when you go to the store. And I remember listening to an interview with the founders of Roan, and they said that because even when you go to Lululemon, it's 80% women, like clothes, tailored. And it makes sense. They are the market. They're the ones who
Yeah.
do more shopping. But when they would look at the material and just the packaging, all this stuff, that was what drove them to do Roan. They said there's nothing like this for men right now. I mean, now the things are catching on, but that's what I heard. It's like Lululemon for women, the equivalent is Roan for men.
I heard about this whole thing on YouTube. I got caught in a rabbit hole with be careful with Lululemon, how it was started, and the reason why it was started was to make. It was like the CEO who has now stepped down, but he owns, I think, the majority. He owns the
He
most
said those
shares.
horrible things about women.
Yeah, he designed them because he saw women's butts and he wanted to accentuate the woman's
really?
butts using, whatever design. So he placed the seams along like certain areas in order to make it seem bigger or
Isn't that what Gymshark does
round
though?
it and lift it.
Gymshark does
Yeah.
that.
Gymshark's pattern literally cups underneath what would be the bottom.
Right,
of the butt cheek,
exactly. Like
right?
it's designed for that to make it give the
For
perception.
the women, I don't think
Yeah.
it does that for the men, right? I haven't.
But I think
I mean, they do for the men. They do, I think,
Is
but
it
not
like
in
on
the
their
same.
on their torso, maybe on the men.
Well, it's like a taper a little bit at the waist, and then it's also like tighter fitting in the upper body region, and then somewhat, from what I understand, like somewhat baggier in like
Yeah.
the front. So like if you have like a little bit of a gut, no right or wrong, but like that's going to be looser. It's not going to be as firm as like in your pec area, which is going to be tighter.
tighter, yeah.
Yeah, but also maybe they want that, right? Like, I mean, that Lululemon guy is a disgusting person for, like, I guess saying that.
Mm.
But if there are people that generally want a pair of pants that make it look better, then okay, cool, good for you.
I'll say this though on the Gymshark. I remember reading. So it's funny because the CEO, the founder, is our age. He's like 29, 30, whatever. I was at school in Birmingham, a different school in Birmingham, at the same time as him, and it's quite fascinating to find out how he started off. I think it was his grandma's sewing machine. He started doing clothes, and little by little, and in a very small, like level height Gymshark, in a very small window, he
Oh,
that
yeah,
blew
I
up.
saw
It's
that.
really the article came out like 2 or 3 years ago.
And he sold it like he had like a really cheap website at one point.
Yeah,
I bought from
but he-
Gymshark back in the day when I first started like training and stuff.
And
Yeah,
how did
because it was
he?
cool stuff.
And he got big by what? By finding influencers on social
Yep.
media. Say, "I'll just send you this stuff and wear it." And that's what everyone does now.
Yep.
But that's how he started off. And like again, level hate it. Like I don't personally own any Gymshark. David, you said you like it.
I had a pair of joggers from Gymshark that I enjoyed. I really thought they were pretty dope.
I wanted some,
is
but
years
then
ago,
it was
though.
like right years ago. That's when it like for me. That's when it reached the peak because it was at the point in which I would be a consumer of that product.
Right.
Now I don't think I'll be a consumer of that product, but I'm not their window anymore.
Yeah.
right? It was like when
This
you're
is-
in that teens to like
Yeah.
early
20s, I think. Yeah.
That's when you really
Yeah.
want it.
This
And
is
then
when it was big. When I bought it is when I think Gymshark didn't have that. I wouldn't call it a stigma, but it didn't have that. I guess thing about them that they have now, where it's like who they're going for.
Yeah.
Who wears Gymshark, all this stuff, and which is why I personally am like, I probably wouldn't buy that anymore.
In
I
the
don't know.
program, there's a leg day instead of leg days.
Oh really?
No, I'm joking. People wear it. I'm joking.
Oh my god.
No, so let's get back to the price point because this is something that I'm going
Alfie,
through
get
right
your
now.
man, bro.
Yeah, Alfie's busy. So for me, I'm working with 2 independent squat stands in my apartment. I know, New York City apartment. How the hell does this guy do it?
Must be nice.
Must be.
So what I'm thinking about is I spoke to a couple of my friends who are also trainers about upgrading, and I was looking into half racks because I wanted someone to do pull-ups and then something with spotter arms so I can actually like squat heavy and not have to fear that I'm gonna come crumbling down to the ground and nobody
Through your
will be
neighbors
there.
downstairs.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
duplex. All of a sudden.
I'll be more injured than David is in this rugby journey.
Oh nah.
But
Shout out Lands Down, bro.
so I was thinking about it, but then like I noticed that the footprint of some of these half racks is bigger than some power racks. And it sounds weird, but for these, if you think about it, it makes sense. These half racks, sometimes they have like these U-shaped sort of designs, floor designs, and then the posts are in the center of the U shape. So they have to have a wider footprint so that way it doesn't like shake the posts either
Gotcha.
one way or the other. Versus a power rack which has 4 posts, it can be supported by each, of the 4 bars, and then you have cross members that attach each long bar to the other, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, taking a look at some of the price points of some of these, I was like, maybe I should just get a power rack. People were like, oh, get a half rack. You're going to grow out of it. Then you'll sell it. And then you'll get a power rack when you have a home. But I'm thinking like cry once.
Power racks.
I'm like cry once, buy once. Buy once, cry once. And then I started comparing different power racks. And I noticed that the prices of some of the stuff from like Rogue or Sorinex is a lot higher for similar products that were made overseas. So I was reached with the point, like, do I pay $300, $400 given current climate as well, right? Because now I'm buying this in, April 2022 or maybe May 2022. Given the current climate, should you invest in American and double down and pay like a couple of $100s for the same thing, essentially. I mean, obviously there are differences, but the same thing, or just buy something overseas. What do you guys say about that?
My concern is for shipping and returning. If you have to return it, shipping overseas, I almost don't even want to deal with that because I mean, this is a little different. But I had to deal with my passport from abroad, and I was just like trying to call them is not happening. Emailing, like personally, for that reason, for something heavy, I would do American. For that fear, that's just me though.
David, what about you?
What's the quality like?
So I've looked up the reviews on both products that I'm looking at, and they both seem legit, like good quality. They're like heavy duty, both, whether it's like U.S. or made overseas. Obviously, like there is some sort of bias because I think when people buy something that's gonna cost them like $1,000 or more, they are just like, I bought it. It was the best thing ever. Unless like somebody, you got to fuck it up bad in order for people to be like, nah, I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you got to
also-
like,
My
yeah.
scooter.
You gotta.
yeah. But and that's part of that falls on the company, right? Like if the company
100%,
sends you
yeah.
something that the packaging is worn down or like it comes with scratches or something like that, then you're just going to instantly be like, I don't really like this. This is not what I paid for. But
I
the
think,
quality, as far from what I'm seeing, it seems like
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think the quality is not a big issue because you have gym equipment in every country in the fucking world, and a lot of countries, at least in Europe, are different than the fitness culture in the United States in a way where a lot of them are like power heavy, like powerlifting, strongman stuff, which means that I guess their equipment does handle it, like it does work well. To Jacques' point, shipping and handling, right? If you do need it, if you do have an issue with it, and you got to ship it. It is a hassle, I think, to ship it, overseas. I've never had to do that, but I don't know. I think it comes down to what your maybe what your beliefs are or what your money is at. If you want to save a couple of bucks and it's international shipping, then I personally would probably do that because it's a little cheaper, save some money. But if it's something that you have to splurge, then go American because I don't think you go wrong with it.
Yeah, I think that for these two pieces that I'm looking at, I can show you guys later after the podcast.
Yeah, I want to see this.
But it looks like the shipping would actually be free for international shipping. God knows how long it's going to take, and or like if there's a return thing. Generally speaking, though, I think with these big pieces, people just say keep it, and they'll send you more parts. Obviously, if you do American, then they'll send you stuff like a little bit quicker. But I also think that some of these places who are creating it overseas have hubs in the U.S., so they're able to ship things a little bit faster now to meet up with the demand. Obviously, since COVID, everybody wanted to have something to sell because a lot of people were buying stuff at home for home use. So, but the shipping would be free for international, but shipping not free for American. And that I thought was interesting too, because I was like, now you're adding on top of that. But again, like if money isn't an issue, what would you guys say?
I mean, I'm also someone that loves to see a product in person before I order it, so it's hard. But I mean, ultimately, if it's all made out of the same metals, I think you should be fine regardless. But I would say, there you go.
Yeah, I think, like for me, I like Eleiko products, and I think Eleiko is solely in Germany or
Maybe
Sweden.
I don't know.
So in that case, if I had the money and I would do international, I'll go Eleiko. Eleiko has great power bars, has power stands and everything. I don't know. I think it'll come down to the brand name if I had the money.
Yeah, like what you trust.
Yeah,
more so
like I would
anything
trust an
else.
Eleiko. Like if it's
You
like
would pay
hammer
more,
strength
right.
to Eleiko, I would do Eleiko.
Right. So if it's something like you have the money, it's not a money issue, and you're just looking at like the names, you're looking at what you trust, what you've had experience with,
And what I've seen, yeah,
and what you've seen in person.
yeah, like Eleiko would be great because they have, I think, heavy duty stuff.
What are the ones at the
Yeah.
club? Hammer Strength?
Hammer
Yeah,
strength,
hammer strength.
yeah.
And iron grip plates and iron grip dumbbells as well.
I mean, and also that comes down to like commercial gym stuff. Like commercial gym things, a lot of gyms have iron grip stuff. A lot of gyms have hammer strength. Not a lot of gyms.
Perform
have
Better
Eleiko.
is one of the suppliers, I think, right?
Yeah,
for
I
that
think
stuff?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, for bumper plates and like slam balls,
Yeah.
I think.
but Eleiko is their own like specialty. Like they have their niche and like
Like CrossFit gyms, you think you mean?
no, they
Or
have
like-
their-
or-
theirs more. They're more based on strength and conditioning, like performance centers, like
Yeah,
Olympic
like
weightlifting and
yeah.
things like that.
Makes sense.
So I would go with that. But also that's because I know of them, right? It's like
Right,
if there's some person that doesn't know of it, and money isn't an issue, then I don't know. Maybe go American, honestly.
Yeah, because that's the other thing too. Like if you look up squat racks or power racks or indie stands or something like that, you're gonna see 1,001 different variations, permutations to the same thing, right? But
You see
know,
the purple one and the yellow
but
one. you know
being
where that
like a
came from.
trainer, like would you buy something off of Amazon? Would you buy a squat rack off of Amazon?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like being a trainer, like you think of things differently versus
Yeah, I mean,
somebody else who's just getting into it or whatever. They might just go to Amazon and say, "Oh yeah, sweet deal," and then get it. And it might be the same, and it might be the same quality. It might be made differently, but then you got to think about like is it really like in the back of your head? You know, you're gonna ask like, is it really the same quality? And then, like, God forbid something happens, because at the end of the day, it is a safety equipment. It's a piece of safety equipment first and foremost that serves a purpose for physical fitness. But
to me, it's the return policy. I mentioned my scooter in passing, and I bought it through the company, not through Amazon. It wasn't being sold on Amazon anymore. And I don't know how that process would have been if they go, okay, now contact the actual supplier. Like, that would have been another hassle. And, like,
Right.
dealing with that, imagine I called the supplier. I'm like, hey, I ordered this through Amazon, but it's actually your product. Like, the fact that I went through them, it was still a pain in the ass. I can't even begin to explain how stupid this whole process was. But and this was in the States as well. This wasn't abroad. So that would be my only fear. Would be, you know, and like when I mentioned my passport, like that was abroad. It was abroad, so I didn't hear from them for every 5 weeks. And the time I sent them something, it was too late a window. I mean, it's different, it's products, but I hope to have a home gym one day and have like a squat rack, because you know, during COVID, it was like obviously a little bit jealous seeing those people with big home gyms, but that's something I hope to have, and like have the kettlebells or this stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely want a squat rack, but I know you got the bike arc. I'll want a bike arc. Do you have a rower as well?
no, I don't have a rower. Although they're selling them on Facebook Marketplace for like $500. And part of
What
me
would
is
it usually
like,
be?
Well, I could stack it up.
Yeah, what would it usually go for? Like
Typically those things are like $950 plus.
you can offer 300, they'll probably give it to you. At this point, people are just trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like I was scouring Facebook Marketplace to see if I can get some secondhand stuff, because you know it. At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt. But these pieces of equipment, they age well. Like these squat racks, these power racks, they age well. So people are like, you'll save on the shipping cost. They're like, if
You just
it's
have to
if
get
it's
U-Haul
priced
to
at
pick it up,
if
or,
it's priced
yeah.
at like $1,000, it's gonna still be $1,000. They're like, you just don't have to pay shipping and handling, and you got to
So,
pick it up.
I say it's like $100 later because you went
It's
to
like,
U-Haul and you pay for
Right.
gas, and gas is
Right.
like through the roof.
Same
right
thing
now.
with bumper plates and things like that. That age relatively well, depending on how much you.
How will
use
you
and
take
abuse
care of it?
them.
And then whether it's left outside as well. Like
Exactly.
a sports club, when those plates are left outside, I mean, they're in good condition, but after 2 or 3 months of being outside in all conditions, like
snowed on.
yeah, it
rained
doesn't,
on.
it doesn't bode well. But
Nah, hail is silly. Anyway, we'll wrap this thing up. But thanks for giving me some feedback on that. We'll see what ends up happening in my home gym. I'll show you guys. But that about sums it up for this episode of the podcast.
Cool.
And we will catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks, Al.
sounds good.
Peace.
Peace, guys.